Okay. When we advertise it as the Emotional Release Weight Management Program, including the virtual gastric band or the gastric band. Got to put gastric band on it because that's what people want. So it's a holistic approach to weight loss. It's client-centered. And what I'm going to do is give you a guide of what to do in each session. But of course, you need to work on what the client brings in each session. So if they've had a bad week at work, clear that feeling, because every feeling that they bring in with will be tied into weight loss. So a lot of the stuff that I do is golden thread, smashing feelings, and then whatever is on for that session. So basically, as you know now, when it comes to weight loss, it's not food and exercise. Very rarely. The reason why I put 90% there is I do occasionally get some people come in that they only need to lose 5 or 10 kilos. And when I ask them when the weight started coming on, they're like, oh, I met my partner and he's feeding me up. Yeah. She's feeding me up. And so we just need to strengthen saying no or whatever, but it's literally just that. It's basically taking on somebody else's issues. But it's pretty rare, because normally when it is that, those people can rein it back if they really want to. It's not, dieting probably hasn't really been a thing for them before, and now suddenly other person's eating pattern is becoming their pattern just through repetition and someone always giving them food. But like I said, to come in for hypnosis, that's generally not the case, because they can usually rein it in. So the body holds weight for heaps of reasons, and as you know, it could be anything. It's basically just the overwhelm of the nervous system. But in here I've put, protection, bad relationships, sexual abuse, all that kind of stuff. Yep, totally. It may cause a body to hide its shape from what it senses as a threat, the opposite sex. It's quite common to hear that. And also, if I have a client coming in that's got quite a round face that you can't really see the features on the face, for me, I can even usually pick up that maybe it was a child that it was safer not to be seen. And what the body will do is actually create a camouflage of sorts, so the family characteristics are not there. This is all, old primitive type stuff, that can happen. It talks about a woman, an extreme case, and it does say extreme case in here, and I probably told you this story. I think I talked about it in the diploma, but she came in and she'd never had a weight problem until her boyfriend shot himself in front of her in her 20s. And she said, because he was going to kill her, but he didn't. And when he shot her, his body parts went flying on her. And ever since then, she got huge over the space of 6 to 12 weeks. And when I saw her, she was huge. And she was in her 40s and she's married, awesome husband, safe as safe, but her body, eating healthy, exercising, her body had none of it. So when we actually cleared the feelings around that event, she just went straight back down to normal again. Her body was just holding that weight for protection, And so when we cleared the emotion, that was done. And we don't like talking about it much, but a lot of women that come in for weight, have that same story of childhood abuse. It's just very common in New Zealand. I see it a lot here. I see it lots in the clinic. We don't need to discuss it. We don't tend to stumble on it in the golden thread because we tend to go back earlier. But when I ask them just to tell me about your weight, from the start, that's not what might bring it up. They might say, well, in my childhood, I did experience some stuff, and then the emotion will come up. Go back, slam it, keep on going. So I usually get a feel for people when they've experienced that kind of stuff, but we don't normally need to deal with that at all. It's always before then, the actual implicit memory. But like I said, it's really common here in New Zealand. It's probably common around the world, but So another interesting thing with weight is, and I think this is really cool, is Bruce Lipton, when they're talking about epigenetics, he talks about how our body shape is formed by what we see around us in those first 6 years, not so much genetics. And I thought, this is really interesting, because my mum's so tiny. Like after 4 kids, she was like 53 kilos or 56 kilos or something, a tiny little thing. And Dad's quite short too, but I'm not. But I was raised basically by they both worked full time. So I was around my aunties all the time, and they've got my body shape. And so that kind of explains that quite a bit. And also, like I've got a really good friend who adopted a beautiful Māori boy as a newborn, and now I was looking at photos of him the other day at 6 or 7. He's got this very light blondie brown hair, blue eyes, identical to the family, and that is a mechanism within us to become like the people we're around, as a safety mechanism. In the wild, if you were very different to the community, you'd be shunned and ousted, basically. So there's a book called, I think it's called Before You Know It, something like that. And it talks about how it only takes 10 years for us to start looking like our partner that we're with. And I would have said that to you guys before, and I would have joked saying, choose your partner wisely. Marissa, choose your partner wisely.
I will.
Yeah, I don't care what they look like. I care now.
Yeah, I do.
I changed my mind on that. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so I find that's really interesting. So people come in to me and say, oh, it's just genetic. And I was like, well, it doesn't actually work like that. There's lots of factors. So if someone comes in and says, my whole family is extremely overweight, doesn't mean they're not going to lose weight. It means that their perception and their reality is being bigger. So we're going to change that. And if a person's skin color can change, facial characteristics can change in the first 6 years of life, we're putting people into that same state that 6-year-olds are in, under 6-year-olds. And we're creating a different idea of them being a shape that they want to be. In hypnosis, a guy that I knew, we talk about this with, in one of the scripts in here that you've got for weight loss, he grew boobs on men wanting a sex change without hormones very effectively, and made a huge amount of money when CDs and tapes were around, and these guys would just listen to the recordings and their body shapes would change. So our mind is extremely powerful. But what's really important with that is, I think we were working on someone, who were we working on the other day, where we asked a question and then we asked them, well, what would that be like? And they had no idea. It was just a session that we did. I don't know what it would be like. Maybe it was you did, but I can't remember. But you know, if a person cannot see it or doesn't have any idea what they would look like when they were smaller, they're not going to get smaller because their brain has no idea of what it would be like. So it's really important for us to get them to visualize that. And in the past, with people that are really struggling, I've actually got them to get a picture of how they want to look online and cut the person's head off and just have that on their phone. So every time they see that, they're locking that feeling in. They really need to have an idea of what it would feel like and what it would look like. Oh, we're doing it for confidence. With you, Tony, what is it? What would it be like to be confident? And there was no, that he couldn't come up with that. That's the same. If people can't do that with what size do you want to be and what would it feel like and what would it look like, then that's your first, once you've done golden thread, you really need to lock that in. What's your goal? What would it be like? Because like I said, there's not going to be change until that can be seen. There's other things that can go on, you know, if a kid was called a big baby all the time, we did that this week too. You're a big baby. Oh, look at that chubby baby. Look at that big baby. You know, that programming kicks in. It kicks in and it runs. I had this woman that had enormous legs and tiny waist, thin, 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 massive legs, and then back to thin again. And when we followed her feelings back that she had about her body, she went back to a scene when she was 3 or 4, and someone had jokingly called her tree stumps or something like that. And her mind had carried that and created them, did a bloody good job of creating them. So we went back and cleared that because she didn't have big legs. It was just a person that obviously believed that they had it, and they were saying that name to somebody else, you know, throwing the ball, you know. So that's really interesting. When we're talking about it, I'm just kind of going through the book. I would have talked to you in the diploma about eating and food and emotional eating. So emotional eating and the connection to food always starts at a young age. Always starts at a young age. And people say to me, oh, I'm addicted to sugar. And I was listening to someone the other day, sugar is more addictive than cocaine. It's been proven in mice. And you know what, though? That is the worst information you could ever give anyone if they're wanting to cut sugar. How is that even helpful? Hey, you know what? It's more addictive than cocaine. They're not going to give it up. You've just told their brain that it's bloody impossible, you know, but it's not actually the sugar that they're addicted to. If sugar was as addictive as cocaine, then tell me why not everybody is addicted to sugar. Because if you go the whole population cocaine, I'm sure quite a big percentage of the population will be addicted to it to the point that they can't stop. What they are addicted to is the chemicals, what's going on in their brain when they eat that food. And what's going on in their brain when they eat that food is whatever connection was created when they were young with that food. And the connection is created in a moment, just like everything else with golden thread. They feel unsafe at home. They go to grandma's house, they feel safe and loved, and grandma gives them baking. Boom. So the chemicals released when they eat baking are safety and love, and they feel so much better when they eat it. And it's different for everybody. Some people are addicted to sugary foods. Some people will say, oh, I'm just so addicted to heavy foods. I want to have a roast. I love potatoes. You know, they make me feel so good when I eat potatoes. You know, I just have hot chips, and that's my go-to food. And I'll say, tell me about hot chips. Oh, when we were young, Dad wasn't around much, but he would always take us out on a Friday and get us hot chips. How do you feel about my dad? I love my dad. Oh, interesting, isn't it? Or people tell me that their food that they crave and that they eat when they're not feeling good is rotten corn. And I'm like, yeah, tell me about rotten corn. Oh, my granddad used to make it for me after school. And I'm like, tell me about granddad. I love him. I absolutely love him. It's not the food. Me, I was addicted to KFC in my 20s and 30s. Why? Because every time I got in their music, Dad, 4 of us kids, Dad would sneak me in the car down to KFC. And that's why I still say I'm the favourite. I am. But he'd get me KFC. And so, of course, even the smell of KFC makes me feel wanted and successful. Not anymore. I'd like totally overdid it, I think. But, you know, it's not the food. And then my dad in my 20s and 30s would buy me a sugar-free and a block of chocolate. Like every time I saw him, he'd have a block of chocolate and a sugar-free V waiting in the fridge. And then I'll be like, oh, that's my dad, he loves me. But then later on I'll get, oh, you're putting on weight. Could it be the chocolate that you made me? That's not my dad saying that, but that's family. Yeah.
There's a study, you can find it online, that they did on Vietnam vets who were hugely big drug users over in Vietnam to deal with the trauma. And they did a study on the ones that had come back and had a family to come back to, literally just no drugs. But the ones who had nothing to come back to continued on, and it was proven, and I think it was heroin they were addicted to, proven that it was because of the feeling of connection and everything. When they came back, they just didn't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Just insane.
Yeah. So when people come in and say I'm addicted to sugar and all that, I still do the same thing. I ask them about it, and when we clear, And what we usually do is we end up clearing the part of them that's needing to eat the sugar. So if someone says to me, I eat at nighttime, tell me about what's going on at nighttime, especially, or I drink wine at nighttime. This is a goodie. You can guarantee they'll say, oh, you know, my partner left and I feel a little bit lonely. Okay, where do you feel it in your body? Or I feel a bit stressed out, you know, I can't sleep, and that's when they eat. So there's always, as the food is being used as a distraction or a way to make them feel better or to give them something to do. So for me, I just don't buy into the whole, it's just addictive. There's always a reason why we're doing what we're doing. Yeah,
So
and
with-
like
so with
I
the-
can.
So with the sugar one, I mean, I know a girl and she's absolutely besotted with eating sugar. I mean, on every day on the site we share, and she goes to the gym, she's sending photographs of candy bars that she's ordered, cakes that she's made, etc. And then she's going to the gym, and honestly, she's slimmer than me. She said, can you see my fat pockets in my back? And I'm going, no, I can't see them. But I don't, and she keeps saying, oh, well, when you know, you can help me with this. And I'm thinking, well, how the frigging hell can I help her?
Because you're going to ask her about her body. When you close your eyes, how do you feel about your body? Because she's got a mind thing going on there, and she will see fat pockets. I know when my family member was 38 kilos, lying down nearly dead in the bed, he'd poke his ribs and he'd say it's just all fat. And at that, when I was only 16 or 17, watching that, thinking, how do you even get your head around that? But they're going to see and feel, and we know that now with hypnosis, we can make people see and feel things for fun using hypnosis, especially if we're working with you know, some of you guys. I can't remember who was easy to work with, but I know Marissa would be, but they're saying she's seeing that. And so if you want to help her, you get her to close your eyes and picture yourself naked in the mirror. What do you see? And the feeling will come up and you slam it, you know. And the addiction to who's got something that they really like to eat? Who's got a favorite food?
It's not naughty, but I love yogurt, but that's.
You love yogurt. So you look at, did you see her face change when she thinks about yogurt? You're smiling and you got like twinkly eyes.
Porridge, yogurt and porridge. I just love those food. And
So tell me about porridge when you were young.
I don't think we really had it when we had ready breath and stuff like that. So yeah, and it was really warming. And
so when did you first have porridge? See, we're talking to a kid now. There's another personality coming out. See, you can see it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. So yeah.
There's got to be a person or a link to that. So I wonder what that link is. There'll be something there that's connecting you to.
Oh, my ex-husband, he was the porridge maker in the house, and when we were really happy, we had porridge every day for breakfast.
Okay.
And then when I knew that he was about to jog on, he actually stopped making porridge, and I didn't realize until he'd gone that he'd stopped making me porridge for breakfast. So yeah, so that's I get it.
Yeah, so now when you eat porridge, your mind is going back to a time where you felt good.
Yeah.
That's what it's doing. But I mean, it's only a problem if it's a problem. You know, it's not a problem to have foods that we love, and what we do is with people, if they are overweight, like if I've got people that are eating sugar and they're diabetics and they're dying, I'm definitely slamming it because their mind is killing them. There's a part in there that's decided that eating sugar is going to keep them alive over the weight, you know, so we do need to slam it. But if we have things that we like, and who cares? It's only if it's a problem. Tell me, Marissa, what's your favorite food?
I have too many. The things that bring me the nicest memories are the Brazilian foods. And there is a kind of a fudge that I make it, and my daughter takes it to school and everybody scoffs it. And I'm taking it to the party on Saturday. So I'm postponing it because if I make it today, I'm going to eat heaps of it.
Now, can you see the child? Now, you know how I talk about sliding? This is a positive sliding. I can see people change instantly in front of me when I'm talking. What about you, Alex? What's your favorite? Look at the face. What's your favorite food?
I really love crayfish.
Yeah.
You know,
Tell me about crayfish.
just love it. I just,
Yeah, but tell me about it. Tell me about the first time you had it, and what was special about crayfish when you were younger? Like, what is it?
I think just I was living with my grandparents.
Yeah. And so when you think about your grandparents, how do you feel?
Yeah, so good.
So good. And when you think about crayfish, how do you feel?
Yeah, so good.
So, it's our bloody grandparents should be giving us healthy food. But yeah, isn't it crazy? And yet they just say it's an addiction, and it's like, nah, it's you need to get that connection and separate the emotion off the food. And the way you basically do that is either, you're going to trigger a personality that's coming out and eating for whatever reason by doing golden thread, or you're going to take that food and you're going to mash it up with something disgusting, and you're going to change the association in the brain. Has anyone got a food that they don't want to eat anymore? Okay, Deb, tell me. I'm gonna put you on spotlight.
Okay, it's good.
Tell me about your food.
Probably butter.
Butter.
I love butter.
My partner eats it off a spoon. Do you do
I
that?
love butter.
Would you eat it by itself?
No, but I'd find things to eat it with.
Yeah. Now, is this something you can realistically not have?
Yeah.
Tell me about butter. How do you feel
Um,
when you think of butter?
Sorry, how do I feel?
Yeah.
Oh.
There we go. That's a slide. Tell me about butter. Don't tell us anything dodgy. Tell us about butter.
Now
There
you
was
was
this one time.
all those good times with butter. Busting. Can we do something else? Right. I guess it's like the bread and butter. It's but it's yeah.
So the feeling that you get when you think of butter, what does it feel?
It's just a real feeling of sort of because it's the fat in it. It's a comfort.
Okay,
It's
right. So
satiating.
tell me something that's really disgusting that you'll never put in your mouth.
Oil, cooking oil.
Oh, oil. Okay, yeah. All right. So close your eyes.
Yeah.
If you had butter with you right now, where would it be? Point to it. Point to butter.
Yeah.
It'd be there. Okay.
Yeah.
Now oil, where's that?
It's there.
It's there. Okay. Gotcha. Open your eyes.
Yeah.
All right. So closing your eyes down now.
Yeah.
And I want you to imagine that in front of you there's a tray. On that tray there's two bowls. There's your butter, your yummy butter that you love. And right next to it is a whole bowl of oil, cooking oil, probably the grossest cooking oil you've ever had. What I want you to do now is I want you to take a spoon, and I want you to get that butter, and I want you to take a little bit of it. Then you're going to put it into the oil, and you're going to mix it around and around and around so you get a whole heap of oil on that butter. Yeah. And now I want you to take it, I want you to bring it up to your mouth, And you're going to put it in your mouth. I want you to put it in your mouth now. And as you chew down on that butter, all you can taste is that cooking oil. That yuck, disgusting cooking oil. What's worse, Deb, is that when you swallow it, it sticks to the sides of your throat. It sticks between your teeth, the top of the mouth. So you just can't get rid of that taste of butter.
She's going to throw up.
Yeah, and so what I want you to do now, Deb, is I want you to get another spoonful. You can do it. I want you to get that spoon of butter and I want you to dip it in again into that oil and scoop it around and around so there's more oil on it, and you can take it and you can put it in your mouth again, and all you can taste is that disgusting oil to the point that you want to vomit, And now you're going to take one more spoonful of that butter and you're going to mix it with the oil and tell me, do you want it? No. So from this moment on, anytime you go to have butter, your mouth is going to fill up with the taste of oil. It's going to be yuck. It's going to be disgusting. Nod your head if you understand. Now open your eyes.
Oh,
Brilliant.
Okay, so now close your eyes. Point to butter. Can't see your hands. And point to oil. Yeah. Okay, opening your eyes. You want some butter?
No, thanks. Oh, God.
So, does anyone else want to do it? Anyone else want to get rid of something?
Can you do it with wine?
Can I do it with what?
Wine. So you don't like wine anymore?
Okay, I'll try it. But how much wine are you having?
It's only probably 2 or 3 glasses every few weeks, but the second or the third glass makes me really sick.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I wouldn't do it on someone that was having wine every day because I would know that there's something deeper. So we need to clear the reason for the wine. But if it's just wine, tell me, Emma, what are you going to switch it for? So say you're wanting to have a glass of wine, what are you going to have instead?
Water?
Is that enjoyable?
Sort of.
No, what are you going to have instead of that glass of wine? Because you're obviously having a glass of wine for some reason. What can you replace it with?
Iced tea. I love iced tea.
Okay, iced tea, that's better. It's got to be something that, you know,
Joy.
maybe you're sitting down with people and they're having a glass of wine. You're going to have something nice in your hand, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what's the most disgusting liquid? What's something that you're not going to drink?
Gin.
You don't like gin?
It's foul.
Okay, cool. All right, so point to, close your eyes and point to wine. And now point to, where's gin? Okay. Interesting how close they are. Most people are like, it's here and it's way away. They're quite close. Okay, so you know what we're going to do already. So I want you to close your eyes. You already got your eyes closed. In front of you is that tray.
Yep.
There is that glass of wine. And there's a glass of gin. And what I want you to do now is I want you to get that gin and I want you to put a little bit of that gin into the glass of wine. So it scoops around and around. And now you're going to take that glass and I want you to have a sip. And as you sip, all you can taste is that gin. And you know the thing with gin is when you swallow it down, it actually sticks, doesn't it? It sticks so that even when you open your eyes today, you're still going to have a little bit of a taste of gin in the mouth, reminding you. And I want you to even add a little bit more. So on the next sip, you're going to actually add more gin into that glass of wine. So it almost looks different even. And as you take that next sip, it almost makes you want to vomit. It's so strong. It's stuck in your mouth. So take that sip and really taste it. And let it go down the back of your stomach. And now what you're going to do is with the third one, you're going to tip more of that gin and you're going to go to sip, but then you're going to decide, are you going to have that last sip or are you going to say no to wine anymore? Because from this moment on, anytime you sip wine, you are going to have a strong taste of gin go in your mouth. Nod your head if you understand. So are you going to have that last sip of wine? Okay, so opening your eyes.
Wow.
You want some wine?
No. No. Oh, I could
Okay,
feel
so
it. I could feel it here.
If you were to point to wine now, where's wine? And where's gin? Yeah.
Oh God. Oh my God, that's crazy. I could taste the gin in the back of my throat.
Yeah. So the more imaginative a person, the easier it works. So this works really well on quite imaginative people that can really imagine that mix up.
Did you just about throw up? Because I just
did.
about threw up.
My throat caught.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
My stomach was actually heaving. I was just thinking, oh,
God, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of what you would do to people, and you wouldn't choose a whole food group. There's another one I'm going to show you if people want to choose more nutritious foods. But you wouldn't do a food group. That's why I questioned butter, because butters and things. But
can you do that on like lollies with your kids, or is that just mean?
it's probably just mean.
My daughter eats heaps of lollies though.
Yeah, but just don't have lollies in the house.
No, she buys it. She goes to work so she can get money and buy her own.
Yeah, I don't know. Only if she wants to. If she wants it, then you can do it. But if you don't want it, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So that technique's really good for if you don't want to ever have it again. What if you want to cut down?
It still kind of works.
Okay.
It still kind of works. If we were talking alcohol, it's a little bit different. Like there's techniques that we can use for cutting wine down and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to, what I want to do with people, and it's quite likely that Emma and Deb isn't good. Emma's probably not going to touch wine. Deb's probably going to not have butter on something alone.
Mm-hmm.
But what it does is the emotion that's causing them to like that, it's gone. And so now it's just the food. So you might find that someone does have a biscuit in the future, but it's just a biscuit and they can stop. There's no emotional connection to it. There's no magic happening in the brain, when they eat it. So we're just taking the positive emotion off it and putting something else there in the brain, changing that like connection. So that's kind of what we do if someone has a food that they want to get rid of. But what I was just demonstrating or showing you is that when people say, I just love food or stuff like that, there's always more to it.
So what about if that favourite food, say if it's vegetables or whatever, and you think, okay, well, vegetables are really healthy, but it's the quantity.
Then we're doing gastric band to cut down quantity.
Yeah.
So the gastric band will change the sizes that you eat. So in the book, it talks about negative emotions. We know that. So emotions sitting in the body cause weight because it's the overwhelm of the nervous system. It talks about, this is so common. I had a male client, huge one, who came in with when I asked him about his weight, it was sadness. The sadness went back to the death of his father, who he never got to say goodbye to. It happens all the time. And we did the saying goodbye thing. And then after that, he shifted weights. Guys shift weights so fast. And when I do couples, because you can do couples together, but just not the golden thread session usually, because the way to trigger them is usually the relationship. They'll start to think about the relationship. So usually I split people up for the golden thread and then I'll bring them back together to do the rest. But usually the women get quite annoyed because the guy's like, I've lost 3 or 4 kilos this week and the chick's only lost 1. They're eating the same food. It's just the way our bodies are made. It says here, just plain old bad habits. And that's what I said. Usually I've put on 5 or 10 kilos since I met my new partner and they you know, their eating is a lot different to my eating, and I've kind of just fitted in with them, which is learning through repetition. And yeah, you would of course rein that back in, help them, but also give them a bit of strength to not have to. There's usually an underlying thing like, I have to be like them for them to like me, or he wants to go out to dinner, people pleaser, so I'm going to go out to dinner and eat with him. If I don't finish my food, then it will upset him because he's made it for me. So there is usually stuff under there that we need to clear to make them at a space where they can go, well, actually, babe, I'm not hungry, so thanks for making it for me, but I'm going to have it a bit later, you know. So, and it takes a lot of strength to do that, especially if someone shows love through food, which is really common. There is health-related issues, of course, that are going to affect weight, like thyroid. Like, so many people come in and say, I've got polycystic ovaries. I think when someone can't lose weight at the doctors, they turn around and tell everyone they've got polycystic. They told my daughter, and I was sitting next to, my daughter went in for a doctor's thing, and the lady mentioned her weight, but she's 6'2". She's like only a size 14, but you know, she weighs a lot because of muscles and tall. And the doctor said to her about her weight, she goes, well, all I eat is salad, because she's she won't eat meat or anything. And the doctor said, oh, well, you must have polycystic, you know, your periods are quite heavy, so you're probably not going to lose weight. So I actually went into the doctor the next week, and she cried because I said, you know what you did to my daughter last week? I didn't do it in a mean way. I did it in a way that people need to be really aware of their language. And she's actually a good doctor, but she just did not. She wasn't very good in that moment. But this is the thing. A lot of the time, people put weight on because they're told, if you've got this condition, you're going to put weight on. It's called pointing the bone. Or people will research polycystic ovaries means I put weight on 3 times as fast. People research stuff. If I stop smoking, I'm going to gain weight. Bullshit. You gain weight because you're eating more. You know, that's it. Most people that come into me and stop smoking, they don't put weight on. The people that put weight on tell me, the reason I'm not smoking is because I'm going to put weight on. I'm like, well, why are you going to put weight on? Because I'm going to eat more. Okay, you can do that if you want to. If you want to eat more and put weight on, do it. But it's not anything to do with smoking. You know, there's emotions lying underneath it. But it says here, I know a lady, my sister, polycystic ovaries, was 130 odd kilos, short little thing in her 20s, and she just lost it all exercising and got the skin cut off and eating extremely healthy, and that's no hypnosis. So, you know, with me, if someone comes in and tells me they've got this diagnosis, to me, it means nothing. Like, we work on why have they got that? There's probably stuff underlying that needs to be cleared. Yep, they might lose weight a little bit slower than other people, maybe. But to me, I don't take any notice if someone says to me, I can't lose weight because of my thyroid, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. To me, it's just a message that they've been told. It's sitting in their head, and their body is playing it out. And so I don't care. Or I put weight on since I started taking antidepressants. And yeah, research shows that when you take antidepressants, you put weight on. How? So when you get the antidepressant, you read it, and what's it say? May cause weight gain. Research shows that 60% of people so the brain goes, okay, sweet as, I'm going to put weight on, you know. And so yeah, I just treat it. I do the same program with everyone, no matter what.
Menopause is another one, Justine. A lot of
yes and no.
Yeah.
Menopause is just like periods and childbirth. If someone's experienced, if they were young and people around them experienced menopause and it wasn't very good, they tend to experience menopause. If some people, I have clients come in that put weight on from menopause. I have other ones that don't put weight on through menopause. The majority of clients that come in that have been through menopause lost weight.
Can you stop hot flushes, menopause through?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, not now, but totally just use control room or something. Yeah. So even menopause is more of a belief system. You know, how many people talk, when I don't work with menopause so much in here because I don't want my brain to hear other people's stuff. My mum didn't get menopause because she lost all her body parts way before that. I don't think I've ever been around anyone as a child with that kind of stuff. So I know I'm not going to go through it. I will if I start listening to crap from people. But people tend to experience what they believe they're going to experience, you know. And yeah, of course, there's hormones and all of that kind of stuff, but we can successfully switch off hot flushes. I had a client a couple of weeks ago who we cleared emotions, and she said for the first night in about 3 years, she didn't have any hot flushes. We didn't work on hot flushes. We were working on emotions around weight.
Oh my God, could you please do me? I'm desperate.
Okay, you can we do that with someone. Yeah, just clear the emotions
Okay.
around it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, everything, people are going to come in with a belief system of why they are like they are. Okay, so if someone comes in saying it's menopause, you'll do your sessions, but of course, when we do the control room, we're going to balance hormones, right? And when you're doing the stone script, you're going to say, has menopause, childbirth, or any form of surgeries caused weight gain? Yes or no? Okay, well, let's clear that. So you'll have to say the words that they are thinking. Do you know what I mean? You've got to address the stuff that they say in the sessions in some way or other. But to me, you just work with the person when they walk in exactly the same as everybody else. Bring up the emotions around their body, clear stuff, work with them. Some people will lose weight really fast. Some people will lose weight slowly. There may even be some people that the weight doesn't really shift, but they feel incredible, completely different person after the sessions. You just got to do what you got to do. But definitely don't go, oh my God, they're in menopause, this isn't going to work. Because works.
Mhm.
One thing that's really important, and I experienced it big time, and I sometimes clear stuff for my ex-students and now hypnotherapists, is when you are in the profession, when you are talking about weight gain, you make sure you stay wide awake. Don't be in trance when they're talking about their problem. Because when I first started out and I was doing weight gain, people came in and told me every reason under the sun why they put weight on, and my brain was taking that on, and I was just putting weight on because my brain had taken on every belief system of everyone that was coming into my clinic, because I was in trance all day and I didn't care, and I was like, oh yeah, and blah blah, and I've heard it from so many hypnotherapists. When they started doing weight loss, they started gaining weight. So the key to that is just to keep yourself awake, out of trance, keep yourself present when you're talking about the problem. Now, when you're doing the session and you're talking about the solution, chuck yourself in trance. I've probably had, I don't know how many times when you're doing gastric band, you're doing it on yourself, so your eating changes. So if you don't want your eating to be very small, you have to be careful, because your brain is going to keep on chucking a band on you when you're doing the sessions on other people. Whenever I do a gastric band session, if I do go to eat, because I don't normally have dinner, but if I did go to eat, every time I do a gastric band session, you can guarantee that night I can only eat the tiniest bit, and then I'd feel really sick. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I did a session today. My daughter laughs at me because she's like, okay, you know. But, you know, it's really funny. So there's an overview on the gastric band, and I'm not going to go through it now with you, because that's more just because people that come in are generally educated and that they've been looking into doing the band, or they've been looking into the new surgery, but they're choosing to try this first as a cheaper and safer option, you know, straight away. So you do need to know a little bit about the real thing, but we're not going to go through that now. So on the next page, it talks about the burn. So this was created back to that time. When you're there, I want you to put your hand up to let me know. So just going back, and keep your hand up, just going back to a time that you felt absolutely full, you felt absolutely disgusting. Like I said, it might be Christmas, it might be, and I want you to notice how that feels. You can put your hand down now. I want you to notice how that feels, to feel so full, so yuck, that you almost want to be sick. And I want you to notice, is it in your upper tummy? Is it in your lower tummy? Is it coming up your throat? Where do you feel it? What does it feel like? And as you feel that sensation now, I want you to take your fist. Now I want you to take your fist and I want you to feel your fist with your other hand. And so from this moment on, anytime you eat over the size of that fist, this full feeling is going to start coming on. If you want to really reduce your food, it's going to come on instantly as soon as you eat the size of your fist. Nod your head if you understand. Okay, now opening your eyes. And now closing your eyes down. And I want you to go back now to a time that you felt absolutely starving. It may have been one of those days that you got stuck at work, you couldn't take a lunch break, or just for some reason you couldn't get any food. And I want you to notice what that feels like. Put your hand up once you're got that feeling there. So going back to a time that you were absolutely starving. Now I want you to notice what that feels like. That's good. You can put your hands down. I want you to notice what that feels like. Whereabouts in your tummy that starving feeling sits. Now this feeling is a message from your body that it is time to eat. It is a message from your body that your body does need nutrition. Your body needs some food. So from this moment on, if your mind decides to move you towards food, could be the time of the day, it could be a smell. If your mind, or even a thought or emotion, if your mind moves you towards food, you are going to stop and you're going to feel your body. And now if this feeling is not there, you are going to ask yourself, what is it that I actually need? What is it that I actually need? You might need a breather outside. You might actually be thirsty and you might need some water. There might be an emotion there that you need to feel or address, or you might just be bored. What is it that you actually want? And you're going to address that instead. So nod your head if you understand. So opening your eyes and now closing your eyes down again. And now we're going to go to a time that you feel, or that you felt neutral. It might even be now. And what does neutral feel like? It's just nothing. It's not hungry. It's not full. It's just absolutely nothing. And you're going to find that you have this feeling about 80 to 90% of the day. Just nothing, just neutral. And once again, if your mind moves you towards food, you're going to stop. And you're going to feel your body. And if that hungry feeling isn't there, it's just a neutral feeling, you're going to ask yourself again, what is it that I actually need? What is it? Am I thirsty? Am I bored? Is there something stressing me out? Do I need a break? Do I need to chill out and watch Netflix? What is it that I actually need? And you are going to address that need instead. So nod your head if you understand. It's good. And so now what I want you to do is just coming back into the room, opening your eyes, feeling so good. How do you feel?
Good.
Good.
So it'll be interesting to see how you feel later. So what that's doing is just really getting that connection back to the body.
Do you have that script written down? Was it this
Yeah.
one? Yep.
It's in you do it in your first session. It's not in the manual, it's on the platform.
Oh.
And it's also when I add you to the Facebook advanced group and the golden thread group, it's all in there as well.
Oh.
Yeah, so now I find that people lose weight more with that than gastric band. Because when they actually learn to start feeling their body and starting to understand why they're doing what they're doing, it gives them power. You know, it gives them, and what we do know with cravings is that they only last about 90 seconds, and the whole art of even stopping and getting into your body and feeling is enough to stop that process. And I mean, if they choose to eat after that, it's fine, but they're making a conscious choice. They're not running on subconscious, oh, I smell food, I'm going to eat, oh, I'm depressed, I'm going to eat. They're actually making a conscious choice to do it. And when you make a conscious choice to do it, they'll eat far less than if they were just going.
So they will generally be able to recall a time when they were hungry and were full. Yep.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had it where someone can't go back to something.
Okay.
And
good.
if they couldn't, you just say, imagine what it would feel like to be hungry.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Because the mind can create that. Now, tell me, if I'm experiencing that, right? Is our feelings of hunger not even real? Like you guys were just made to feel hungry, not hungry, and neutral in hypnosis. So isn't that a crack up? We can bring up any feeling with hypnosis, but we are hooking that feeling up. So we do this in the first session. We do stones in the first session, and most of you guys have done stones. I will talk about that. But what's really important in the first session is we're going to, so say we've gone through, we've done the golden thread, we're going to ask them, what's up here? You're going to explain a little bit about how your body holds weight as a protection. You're going to understand that, yes, they're, if they say they're not eating much and stuff, you totally understand that, you get it, and you can explain about protection. There's lots of reasons why our body does what it does. So there's questions from then on that you want to know. You want to know their goal. And you want it to be a realistic goal. You want to see whether they've been there before and if they know what that would feel like. You know, you need to get that. If you were to work out a goal for them when they want to be there, don't make it any quicker than 1 kg a week, because you're setting them up to fail. And people go, oh, but I lost 10 kilos on keto in 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, if you want to do that, do it. But right now we're going to create a plan that you can eat whatever you want and lose weight. And if we do that, then you're going to sustain it, and it's just going to keep on going, and it's not going to feel like a diet. It's just going to be you living every day. And to do that, the weight loss is going to be slower. You know, it is, because they're still going to eat what they want. They're still going to do things. But although in saying that, I have people that lose weight really fast, because if it is solely a protection, the body's just going to shift it really quickly. You know, but when we set the goal out, we're going to do it around 1 kilo a week. And it says you can fill out the wheel of life for weight. You don't really need to do that now, because what I'm going to show you is how to create that weight loss form. And so what you'll do is you'll have a form that they fill in on week 1 and week 5. And then you'll be able to show them the difference. And you can even email them the before and after, so they can see how much you've changed. I'll show you on my computer soon what that looks like. You want their weight. Now, people aren't going to want to give you their weight, right? The way I work now is people give me the weight, or else I'm not working with them. I've got scales here if they're coming here, and I'll make them stand on it, because the emotion that comes up when they stand on that weight is the one that needs to be cleared. So if they're saying to me, no, I'm not going to stand on scales, I'm like, close your eyes, where do you feel it in your body? And we'll make scales neutral, so they mean nothing. Okay, but if they're not prepared to hop on the scales for me, I'm not prepared to work for them, because I know there's people over the weight of the scales, and we just have to deal with that. But I need to know that the weight is moving, and I need to know that their food is changing, and I need to know that they're feeling better. and I can't do that without knowing their weight. It's very important to explain to them, and I'm videoing this so you guys will be able to listen to this over and over again. It's very important to explain to them that with scales, they hop on once a week only, and it's the day that they're talking to you, because our subconscious works in pictures and numbers. And so if they hop on the scales every day and they have an emotion with it, it's chance, and they're locking that number in, and they're instructing their body to stay there. And that's why people find it really bloody difficult to shift off a number, because every day they hop on and they see that number and it locks in, especially the more emotion there is attached to it. So it's once a week. And the reason why we do it once a week, the morning they come to see you, is because when they come and you do hypnosis, you're going to lock in their goal as their number. And that's the number that the mind's going to be thinking about. Now, if they do want to continue weighing once a week and messaging you, it's really important that they listen to a recording after they do it to lock that number back in, because we want their mind locked on their goal and not their bad number that they don't want to be. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I know that when some people do put on weight, they, as you say, don't want to get on the scale. So they may give you a number that they think they might be. So how much do you
tell them to get on the scales?
Okay, so you don't necessarily trust the number that they're giving
Hell
you?
No, they've got to get on the scales. If they say to me, I'm 99.1, I'll say, oh, was that this morning? No, that was 3 weeks ago. Okay, get on the scales. No, I don't want to. Close your eyes. Where do you feel like body?
Okay, yeah.
Slam them. And that's even online. If they don't have scales, I actually tell them to buy some.
Okay.
Because I need to know.
Yeah.
Because I'm not doing I need, when I do hypnosis, I want proof, and I want to see the shift, and I can't just do it by, I'm feeling better, because I can make someone feel a size 12 that's not a size 12 using hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's going to help them. I mean, I did that to Caroline. I just said to her, picture yourself in little jeans, and now she's in jeans, you know, lucky. But so that's kind of how that works. So we're going to show them the ball. Where is my pink ball gone? I love my pink ball. If you want to, and you want weight loss yourself, I always hold my ball while I'm doing sessions with my clients. It's always in my hand with them. So here's the ball. Okay, and I say to them, I give them their ball, or I get them to buy one. And I get them to look at the ball, and I want them to work out what a ball is. I don't want to tell them. If they don't know, then I'll say, look, basically for me, a ball is, it would be a piece of toast with an egg and a bit of bacon will be a ball. Okay. A good sized salad will be a ball, because once you chew it down, it will fit into a ball. You could have 2 pieces of KFC and most of the chips of one of those little lunch packs in a ball. If you go to BP, you'll eat most of a butter chicken pie. People laugh at me because the food I talk about is not food that, you know, or, you know, if you go to a bakery, you could eat a big donut as your ball. You could probably have 3 or 4 biscuits, Tim Tams, if you want that can be your ball. And so we just get an idea. Probably 4 pieces of sushi might be a ball. So, and I'll get them to start telling me what a ball looks like. And remember, I say to them, I'll tell you later, I say to them, there's no bad foods in here. There's no bad foods in here. So what I'll do is I'll get them to go through a ball with me. So who wants to be my guinea pig for gastric band? I know everyone's going to put their hands up. Not everyone, sorry. I mean, I know there's going to be more than one person saying me. Who wants to do gastric band? So put your hands up if you actually want the gastric band session. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, yeah. So I will run through it, and some of you can watch, and whoever wants a band put on them can do that, especially if you've got a ball at home. I'll probably do that tomorrow, not today, because it's already 3 o'clock. But if you bring a ball tomorrow, we'll chuck a band on you. But what I'm going to do is, I'll just make it up.
Can you get me back to my 15 mil capacity?
Well, yeah, probably. We could just tell your mind that in hypnosis.
I need this, not a ball.
I know, but do you know what? So you can give people you can give people ping pong balls, and I know people that do that. But do you know what I thought when I saw that ping pong ball? My brain just thought, there's no way in hell I'm going to eat 3 of those a day. And the minute you go, there's no way in hell it's going to happen, the brain is going to shut off your hypnosis. So that's why I got a bigger ball and explained to them that it's food squished down, because it's more realistic. And people still lose a shitload of weight having this size. But yeah, that's why I didn't do the golf ball like everybody else does, because I knew in my head it was like, nah, you know.
It's about having that per like mouthful and take 20 minutes to eat is how, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, and so we just lock in 3 a day. I know that with the gastric band, people just eat that amount and then they have that amount again when they're hungry, and they have that amount again when they're hungry or whatever. But with this one, we lock in 3 small meals a day when they are hungry. So they listen to their bodies. There is no such thing in gastric band as breakfast, lunch, and dinner at all. It's when they're hungry. If at dinner time they don't feel like having dinner but they want a bowl of ice cream, in gastric band it is completely 100% fine. Not only is it fine, it's listening to their body. And I tell you what, those people would have normally had dinner and ate the ice cream. So when they have the ice cream, they lose weight. And they do lose weight. I have people losing weight eating the shittiest foods over the first 2 weeks, and they lose heaps of weight. They eat whatever they want. What we do is we say to them, in the next 2 weeks, I want you to eat whatever you want. In the small sizes, whatever your body craves. If it's McDonald's, it's McDonald's. You know, and you want them to eat the foods that they consider naughty, because what we're doing is we're taking away the emotional connection to food. Now, if food is their go-to thing when they're feeling shitty, we're making it their go-to thing for the hell of it. You know, and I tell you what, it wears off very quickly. They end up wanting to eat better foods because all of the emotional connections to food are gone. For them, a biscuit is just a biscuit because I can have it anyway. Or, you know, when you say to them, you can eat whatever you want, I tell them, listen to your body and eat exactly what it wants. You know, exactly what it wants. And people are like, I'm on keto. If you want a sandwich at lunchtime, eat a sandwich, and they lose weight. They're like, how does it even happen? It's like 65 carb. And I'm like, because you're eating a very small amount. If you ate 3 pieces of cake the size of this ball every day, you're going to lose weight. You just are, because it's only enough food to fuel your brain and your organs. So what we're trying to do is getting their head around, it's not the food they're eating, it's the quantity for one. And then we're going to move them towards foods that are good for their body, because we're going to suggest things about how they start to notice what food feels like in their body. You know, if a food makes them feel yuck, then we're going to make it so they don't really move towards it. You can't tell me anyone that feels great after having sugar. They might initially, but then they don't later on. Or carbs, you know, people feel quite heavy after having lots of bread and stuff. So, you know, they are going to start listening to their body, and they are going to lose the connection to food and start eating food that, you know, they're going to start making better choices. And in the programming that we give them in the recordings, it says things like you're moving towards healthier foods. You know, it's got all of that in the hypnosis that they're listening to. So it's going to happen naturally. But for now, we want them to realize that there's no such thing as good and bad. There's no good food, there's no bad food. They've been told that forever. They've been told that if you eat this, you're going to get fat. But if you eat this, you're going to get fat. If you go to Jenny Craig, you can have a little bit of rice and meat and veggies. That's okay. But if you go on keto, that's really bad, because it's about 30 grams of carb per meal. You know, everybody is saying different things. And at the end of the day, your body is going to do what you believe. So when it comes to weight, they proved with epigenetics that your body processes food in the way your belief system is. Some people can eat whatever they want as much as they want, and they'll never put on a single thing. Other people can smell bread and they put weight on, like me. So, and if you've done keto and it's worked for you and you've had all this emotion, you know, and say before keto, you could eat all the carbs you want and you didn't put weight on, but then you went on keto for 10 years and it was really successful. Then you got off keto and you started eating bread again, and suddenly, boom, your weight goes up. It's because you've created a new belief system that carbs are bad. And every time you eat it, what is the message from the brain? Carbs are bad. You're going to put weight on. If people are really strict on calories and stuff, they eat a piece of cake and they go, I bet I'm going to put on a kilo overnight. What do? They see a kilo on the scales overnight. The way we know that your body processes food and the way your thought processes is because they've done lots of research on it. They gave 2 big groups of people thick shakes. They gave one group diet, one group normal, right? And then they tested the chemical responses in the body, the insulin that was released, the hunger hormone. You know, they tested these things and they found a massive difference between the diet and the normal, right? Especially with the hunger hormone when that was released. The people that had the diet shake, it was usually within half an hour. The people that had the normal shake, it was usually around 3 hours. That's why they say drinking diet drinks makes you gain weight. BS unless you believe it. So what they found was, what they actually did was they put exactly the same shake into 2 different containers, and all they did that was different was they said this is a diet shake, and they had diet on the container. So that's what instructed the body to put the weight on, and that's what instructed the hormone to come out, and that's what instructed the amount of stuff to come out in the body. How crazy is that? So I explain to people it is their belief systems around food that is causing them to put weight on. And if we can make it so food becomes neutral, it's just food. Yeah, we can like it if we want to, and if we like it, we can have a little bit of what we like, but we're just going to make it food again. Do you know what I mean? So for them, it's really important to take the emotion away from it. It's just, there's no food, there's no good, there's no bad. If someone comes in and says, oh, I was really bad yesterday, I had cake for lunch. And I'm like, well, what size was it? It was the size of the ball. I'm like, what's bad about that? Who cares? So you had cake, you're not going to die. Whereas in the past, they might have had cake and then they beat themselves up, you know, and it was all over, I'm going to put weight on, and all these messages came in, firing up the nervous system, you know, quitting the diet. For now, it's like, oh, well, I had cake, who cares? You know, it was yum, I enjoy it. So for the first 2 weeks, we tell people, eat whatever you want in those 2 weeks, the size of the ball. The first week, we're kind of locking in the ball by getting them to hold the ball when we do that full feeling and empty feeling. And it's just preparing them that week for gastric band the next week. So it's just starting the process of cutting the food down. Clearing the emotion will cut the food down naturally, and so will the stones, doing the clearing script if you end up doing that in the first session. So what we're doing is we're kind of shaking away any beliefs that they have around food and dieting that have been put in there for so long. I know people that have never had a weight problem their whole life, and suddenly they become friends with people that are body conscious and dieting. And so they do it to fit in, and from then on they put on heaps of weight because they can't get away with eating anything because their mind did it to fit in. And so their whole belief system around food's changed, and so their body's acting out like everybody else's, which is really sad, because before that, food wasn't a thing. So what we want to do is shake up all those myths, and by getting them to eat what they want is going to do that in those small meals. When they realize that they can lose weight eating what they want, then they're going to really realize when they hop on the scales that, hey, it's not actually food. Now, we're not saying, I tell people in my program, I tell people to take a really good multivitamin. I tell them to take vitamin D, 2,000 UGs of it, because it's been shown that if you lack vitamin D, it causes obesity and mental illness, because I'm in the brain health thing. If you're lacking vitamin D, the part of the brain that stops you eating and releases the hunger hormone, which is leptin, it's not going to release that hormone if you're lacking vitamin D. Well, we can play with that with hypnosis, but I just say to people, look, start taking vitamin D. Oh, how much should I take? Take whatever it recommends on the bottle. I personally take 2,000, but you know, unless you're qualified to say that. And I say this is your choice, but I recommend that. I tell them all to take omega-3 because it helps the front part of the brain. What is the front part of the brain? It's the handbrake. It's the part that stops you eating. Oh, I want a biscuit. No, you shouldn't have that. If your frontal lobe's pretty screwed, it's like, oh, I have a biscuit, I'm going to eat all of them. So I just, and I do talk to them about nutrition, because nutrition is really important. But, you know, when you're having 3 small meals a day, the chances of someone getting what they need is pretty slim. And if they did do the gastric band, they probably, or the bypass, they'll be on vitamins for the rest of their lives. So we're basically telling them in a lesser form of what they would be told if they went and had the real thing. And I make that quite, to me, it's quite important. I've worked on, well, I've been around animals my whole life. And if we have a cow down, we would just shoot, I can't even remember what it is, a couple of things that we'd shoot in their vein and they'd stand up within 10 minutes. If I have a horse that, when I used to do horse massage, where it was not walking right on the back end, I knew straight away that it was lacking selenium, and we'd give it that and it would be fine. So I've seen what vitamins do for animals, so why not? So it's exactly the same for us, even though we don't get told that from your doctors and stuff. It really is. So I'll show you what I give my clients. It's just a little Canva thing, and I can make them for you. I do have to charge to make them because it takes me about an hour. I'm not that fast to put your logos and stuff on it, but if you did want that to give to clients, you can, and I'll show you that. And so when we go back to this wall, then what you're going to do, I know this is heaps of info, but I'll give you the recording so you can listen to it. I'll try and get this one done quickly. What you want to do is you want them to tell you their day before what they ate, and you're going to draw it in lines, and you're not judging them on food. We don't care. I'm just gonna mute some people because I'm getting some feedback. I don't know who it's from. Oh yeah, it stopped now. So I get them to go through their normal day, the day before, and they most likely won't know because a lot of our eating is subconscious, but we'll get them to really think about it. So what I want you to do is we're going to go through a day, we're going to go through yesterday, and we're going to talk ball sizes. There's 2 reasons why we're doing this. One is we need to get their head around what a ball is, because how can we put a band on them and tell them that they're eating a ball size amount of food if they don't know what a ball size amount of food is? And the reason why I did that full sensation, empty sensation, and I only wrote that in the last maybe 6 months, was because I realized with some clients after we did gastric band, they still didn't really feel full. And then I thought to myself, how can we make them feel full if they don't know what that actually means? So that's why we're doing that full and empty script. So I'll get them to go through their day. So what did you have for breakfast? Okay, and they'll say, oh, I had a really big smoothie. Okay, what's in the smoothie? And they'll be like carrots and blah, blah, because most people are healthy. Okay, so when you look at the ball, what do you reckon that is? And they'll say, oh, I reckon that's a ball. And I'm like, sweet, that's what you're going to be having from now on. But remember, you're not going to be having breakfast. You're going to listen to your body. And if in the morning that signal is there for hungry, you're going to have it. If not, you're going to wait until you feel hungry. And they'll be like, yeah, because we're going to listen to our body. And then what else did you have? Oh, well, at morning tea, I went out with friends and I had a custard slice and a coffee. And then they'll usually go, oh, what about coffee? And I'm like, nah, don't worry about coffee. We're not going to talk drinks unless it's in excess. Okay, so what do you reckon that custard slice was? And they're like, oh, it could be a ball. Okay, so you write down your ball. Lunchtime, I had 2 roast meat sandwiches with lettuce and salads. You know, what do you reckon that is? And they're like, oh, that must be about 3 balls. So you write down 3. I just do lots of lines. And so you'll go through their day. And normally it's between 8 to 12 balls is what people generally say. You know, if someone says 3 balls, that you're going to be doing a lot of clearing because their food is small and you know it's emotion. The more balls, the better, because you're going to have quicker success if they're a bigger eater because you're going to cut the food. And so you're going to say to them every week, I'm going to ask you your ball sizes, which always gets them laughing, and it's really awkward with guys, and you're going to get their weight off them every week. And between that and how they feel is how you're going to gauge how the thing is going, and you'll be surprised on the next session. And remembering with hypnosis, we're changing their perception. So they might come in and say, oh no, my food hasn't changed much. And you'll go, okay, so tell me yesterday. And they go, well, I had my first meal at around 11 and I had a cake. Okay, how big was it? Oh, it was about a ball. When did you eat next? Oh, probably about 2 or 3, and I had something rather. Okay, and did you have dinner? Nah, I just had a snack before I went to bed. It was really bad. I had a snack. You know, I had 3 or 4 biscuits, and then I counted up and I'm like, okay, so you had like 2.5 balls yesterday. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, do you realize last week you had 10? They're like, what? Because they don't remember, because you've changed their perception. And so you work it out in percentages. So if someone's gone from 10 balls to 6 balls, you're like, man, you've cut 40% of your food. You don't say 4 balls. If they've gone from 10 to 3 balls, it's like 70% of your food you're not eating. If they've only made a small change, it sounds better with percentages. So that's kind of how you're showing them. You're actually giving them proof that there's been a shift. Now, they don't know what they said the last week. So when they tell you, they're not going to tell tales. If it stays the same from the first week to the second week, who cares? You know, because we haven't even done gastric band yet.
You only want to know the day before. You don't want to know the other 6 days.
No,
No,
we're not, because what we're doing with them is we're really stressing to them, this is not a diet. This is not a diet. We're not focusing on it as a diet. What we're doing is we're creating a new healthy program that they can be on forever. You know, and so if we were to do other days, it's too much emphasis on it. We're only doing the ball just to see if there's a shift. And it's basically so we can show them that there's a shift. And then we'll ask them, especially if they don't have a massive weight loss, if they only lose 400 or 500 grams. So how did you feel this week? And you know what it's like when you do golden thread. They're going to feel fucking awesome. Oh my God, I felt so good this week. You know, my husband said I'm not as angry, whoever said that, Susie or whatever. You know, they'll come back and they'll be saying this stuff and they'll be pumped up. And then you'll realize it's not actually about weight. Weight's just a symptom of something else. And that's why when people say to me about my weight loss program, people feel amazing after the 5 sessions, because we've done so much work on them. You know, 5 sessions of this stuff, you know, that they're changed. And if their weight is even going slowly, they've still completely changed and they can stick to it. I don't think I've ever heard of someone that did our program that's ever gone back to eating big again. They just don't. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone ever eating what they used to eat, ever. You know, people might put weight on for whatever reason, say someone dies or they have a trauma or a new implicit memory comes up. You know, if their body shows trauma as weight, their body's going to kick in and do that mechanism. We can't stop that. But generally, the food never jumps back up when you clear the feelings around it. Yep, Annette?
Just need to do a wee.
Okay. Oh, yeah, how about we take a 15-minute break? It's already 3:30.
Awesome.
I'm busting. I don't want to miss out on anything.
Yeah, okay. We'll take a quick break.
Okay, cheers.